So we just had some rain, but I'm going to highlight an issue that I have seen from my house on this corner, because that's a private library. That's the residence for somebody who has some severe mental problems. And this is a public parking lot. And I grew up on a farm and managed water and property my whole life. And so, not that I'm bragging, but I have a unique interest in this, and I live right on the corner and I watch it happen. The town tar and stone every couple of years on this street, which has no drainage. There are no ditches on either side of the road. There are no culverts to get over that, and there are no receivers, DAs, whatever you want to call them, at the end of the street. So the water washes down and carries all the stone and stuff down, and it sort of pools here, and it cruises on down the street there, and it just kind of wanders out across and makes its way over. There's no receiver there. There is a receiver there, but you can see it's here, and the low area is there. So the water washes all down and drags all this stone out into the road where it gets driven on and turned into sand. And this is a state highway, so the state throws sand and salt out here all winter long, and that sand, and it all gets rinsed along, and it rinses all over into this parking lot, all over into the end of the bridge here. A lot of it comes over here in the highest amount of flow that the water has, and then the water stalls out and it dumps it right here. Exactly where this puddle is where there's always a big cake pile of silt that eventually the very slow water can roll down. Now, if there were a bunch of these on all four corners, or at least more corners than just one, it wouldn't make much difference as to where all that goes, because it's plumbed directly into the creek. That's how storm wastewater goes. It's to daylight, quote unquote. That's how it's always called out. You're not allowed to put anything down that you wouldn't want in the waterway, because it goes to daylight, because that goes to water sheds, and those sheds go to creeks and rivers that go out in our area to Lake Erie. So what's my problem? Well, sitting on my porch all summer, I pick people up constantly on their bicycles and their motorcycles who are doing this right-hand turn, leaning in even though they're going slow. They come around the corner here, and this is not exclusive to the water, but it gets carried and kicked all out there by traffic and stuff. And just as they notice there's some silt here, their choice is to straighten the machine up and go into oncoming traffic. Hopefully there's nobody. And if there is someone or they don't see it, they wash out low side and dump it right here, and I have to come across the street and help them pick it up. And we've used several med kits, and finally somebody brought me a new med kit most recently as a thank you for doing that for them when they dump their bike. Coming home on a summer evening after getting ice cream with his fiance. So we bandaged him back up, over here, and so I got tired of it. There's always a big sandbar all the way along here, and all this stone saw lays all around, and it gets carried everywhere, and it's just driven on constantly in that dust. Being on the road, you're going to have this, but there's more and more of it because of all of this stuff that lays and isn't washed away, that comes in and settles on all of our stuff, and it comes inside if the door's open in the nice weather and gets on all of our stuff inside. So I said to myself, this is obviously the far corner of the less important village in my town. I've asked directly the sweeper from the town to get that area. He said he couldn't. I asked the state sweeper to get that area. He said he couldn't, because the state wants to do just this here and the town wants to do just this here. And if it travels anywhere on over to these areas, they can't help me out with that. And so I just got tired of it, and I got a sweeper attachment for my skid steer, and I swept up my side of the road and I dumped it at my house. I went up the sidewalk as far as you can see there before it disappears again into the sand that I didn't continue on, but I cleaned up the sidewalk that way. And from my side of the street, and those pine cones that fall off of those big pine trees that were laying down there on the sidewalk, that's what's laying here on my property. I'm not going to take it across the road and expedite it on its journey necessarily. I drew the line there, and so I poured it all over these concrete slabs that I plan on turning into more sidewalk here in a pinch, and I'll have to clear those off. It's more work for me, but there's all of that material. And then around the corner, you can see I put all new asphalt millings, which are full of the oils and stuff that they use to make asphalt. I put those all over my lot around the corner and cleaned up the edge as best as I could with my bucket. But there was some leftovers there, so when I got my new sweeper, I cleaned up the edge of that frontage over here. And since I had purchased those materials, I put them back on the driveway. I did not take them across the street and dump them into the waterway or anywhere near the waterway. I cleaned up the edge of my place here, deposited them back on there, and planed them down. Reincorporated it. I'm not in the business of buying stuff just to throw it away. Then I went around and I did all this entire intersection, which I also snowplow after everybody snowplows and leaves their ridges from the full-size plow trucks in front of everybody's driveway. I do what I call opening up the intersection again, and I clean up all four corners and tie it all in together with everybody else's plowing that they've done up and down the street a little bit to manage the incredible amount of snow that we get in western New York occasionally in the wintertime. I'm already out. I'm already plowing my lot. My lot has got frontage on the state and the town highway, so I'm out there kind of blending with their work, and so I just continue to follow that logic. Now, then almost 9 out of 10 times I plow this lot, which is where people park for the library, because they used to park in my lot. And when I bought the place, I realized that for logistical and liability purposes, I can't be having people routinely parking up to go to the library. I had to ask over time and kind of be that guy and kind of say, hey folks, you can't be parking here, you need to be parking there. So as soon as I started turning people away and making them park over here, I started snow plowing this when I could see that it needed it, because I didn't want to drown and put that little private library out of business, because they couldn't park in my lot anymore and people couldn't get there. So that's why there haven't been any complaints about the lot not being plowed. It's because I immediately started plowing it as soon as people started parking in there. So I'm not plowing it anymore. I'm not obliged to. I'm not supposed to. But here's where I dumped all the material that came off of the intersection and the parking lot. I came over here. I just went right over the guardrail. I didn't want to leave a pile here like it was somebody else's mess to clean up. I certainly don't want to pour it into the waterway. And I'm thinking along the top here, here's somebody else has dumped their pots and plants and stuff out, and that's got styrofoam chunks or something else, and that wasn't me at all. All this sand and a couple pieces of painted asphalt from the street were deposited here so that in the springtime they could grow grass, and it would tie in with this area here, and you end up, rather than the water that comes across here washing the material away and constantly scouring this clean, you have grass which catches material further, helps it to stay and grow more grass, and ultimately becomes a pre-filter for what washes over in there out of the garbage can if it blows out or what have you. If you get bushes and stuff like that to catch debris and stuff, it's one more opportunity for somebody to collect it up before it goes down and goes into the Great Lakes, essentially. And so all of that is all beyond my purview. But this is not a well thought out public park. Obviously that's not the route by which you're supposed to get to the water, like the person who's complaining about this here. It's guardrail. If you're jumping over there, that's for you. This is the park. This is the little walkway that you get. There's some tables and a swing sitting there. That's the park. If you want to hop in there and go down to the water, that's on you. The no parking police enforced sign came just a year or two ago. They've been telling people not to set up picnics and sitting on the grass like it's the beach, because this place doesn't get a lot of attention. It's not set up for safety. Oh, and the last thing that I'll mention, it's another bit of oversight. It's nice to think that the kids can hop in and play in the water and stuff. I did that when I was a kid, not here, but elsewhere. But the fact is, the bridge is in major disrepair. The entire edge of it has been breaking off. That's a piece of rebar. It was way longer, it went way over there, but with the current and debris, it's been yanked all the way over to the side. And I've been here almost every other time that I'm here. Literally, a piece of this concrete goes kaboosh and falls in there. So playing along underneath here anywhere, you're just asking to get hit in the head, and if that doesn't kill you, drowning while you're seeing stars or knocked out in the few feet of water that are here is how you're going to go. And so it's not a play place here. We're not all obliged to be coming and going out of the creek down here. It's just sort of a weird piece of property. Oh, here's some dog shit that somebody didn't do anything more than plastic bag it. It's a weird piece of property. I'll put that in the garbage can. We do the best that we can here with it. I had good intentions to keep it clear and expedite safety concerns like people dumping their motorcycles in the street. And I put that material close to where it came from, not in anyone else's way. And it's certainly not like an asshole right on top of this walkway or anything else like that, which has been implied here. It's just a little bit of sand and stone from the side of the road that the town will come and haul away now when I come and hand scoop it back up onto the asphalt. But I told them, I'll be right on top of you guys going forward. If I'm not supposed to be doing any of this over here, I'll have to call and call and call every time it's an issue. And I expect you guys to hop to it and come take care of it. And I assume people trying to get to the library are going to have to start bugging them about more officially and more frequently plowing the snow out of here. because I'll be sitting at my house looking out the window, drinking a cup of coffee, looking at 3 or 4 feet of snow sitting over here that I could handily just move around and out of the way with my machine. But that's the end of it. This is what you get for trying to do something nice. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.